Hey everyone, how are you? In this video, we are going to solve the lead code problem of the day, and the problem is bitwise ORs of subarrays. Now, the given input in the problem is an array of integers, and we need to output the number of unique bitwise ORs we can have from all the subarrays we can create from the given array of integers. That is, whatever is the input we have as an array of integers, we need to first find what are the different subarrays we have, and for all the subarrays, we need to find the bitwise ORs. Now we need to consider only the unique bitwise ORs because two or more than two subarrays can have the same bitwise ORs. So we need to just consider the unique bitwise ORs, and we need to return the number of unique bitwise ORs we have for all the subarrays. Now let us try to understand about this using an example. In the example, the given input is 1, 2, 3. This is our array of integers. Now the different subarrays we can create are 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. These are the subarrays we can create which are starting with 1. Then we have 2 and 2 comma 3 which are starting with 2. Then we have 3 which is starting with 3. So we have a total of 6 sub arrays and they are non-empty. For this given array, another sub array is an empty array which is a valid sub array, but we are not going to consider this because the question says that we only need to care about the non-empty sub arrays. Alright, so we have all the sub arrays, and if we try to find out the bitwise OR of a particular array, the process is you need to take the bitwise of every element. You need to take the bitwise OR of every element in your array. For example, for this particular sub array which is 1, 2, 3, the bitwise OR is going to be 1 bitwise OR 2 bitwise OR 3. This is equal to 3. Talking about this particular sub array, it just has one element and the bitwise OR is equal to the element itself. Talking about this particular sub array, it has two elements 1 and 2. So we need to take the bitwise OR of 1 and 2, and this will be equal to 3. So for the first sub array we have the bitwise OR equal to 1. Then for the second one we have 3. For the third one we have 3. For the fourth one we have 2. For the fifth one we have 3. And for the last we have 3. So we got 6 different bitwise ORs, but not all of them are different. We have some duplicate bitwise ORs as well. We have 3, 3, 3, 3, 4 times. So we just need to consider this 4 number of 3's as 1 because we need to consider only the unique bitwise ORs, right? So what are the unique bitwise ORs we have? We have 1, we have 3, and we have 2. We have 1, 3, 2. These are the different bitwise ORs we have for all the sub arrays for the given input. The total number of unique bitwise ORs are 3, 1, 2, and 3, right? That is what we need to find out. We need to find out the number of unique bitwise ORs, and let us see how we can do it. Let us say the input is 1, 2, and 3, and using this input, let us try to understand how we can find the answer, how we can code the solution, and what is the logic and intuition behind it. See, the first thing which you need to understand is this bitwise OR is a progressive operation. It's a progressive operation. It means that if you take a number A, then take a number B, the output or the bitwise OR, if it is equal to C, and if you take the bitwise OR of C with D, then the output will always be more than C. If you take the bitwise OR of C with any other number, the output will always be more than or equal to C. So coming back to this fact again, if I have a number A, if I have just one number, the bitwise OR of this number will be equal to the number itself. If I take the bitwise OR of A and B, the output will always be more than or equal to A, right? It means if I take the bitwise OR of any number with any other number, the output is never going to decrease. It will either be equal or it will be more than A or more than the same number. So it is a progressive operation. Now let us try to solve this particular problem, and before this you need to understand about one more thing. When we are saying that we need to find the bitwise OR, it means we need to set a particular bit at a particular position. That is, for 1, if we convert it to binary, it is actually equal to 0, 1, right? If I just take two digits. If I talk about 2, it will be 1, 0 in binary, and if I talk about 3, it will be 1, 1 in binary. Now if I take the bitwise OR of 1 and 3, let us say we have two numbers 1 and 3 only. This is the input. For this input, 1, 3 is a valid sub array, right? If I take the bitwise OR of 1 and 3, this will be equal to 3. But let's try to understand about this a little bit more. 1 is actually equal to 0, 1, and 3 is equal to 1, 1, right? Now from this you can understand that what we are trying to do in bitwise OR is we are trying to set a particular bit at a particular position. If we talk about the position, the least significant position, which is the last one, for this particular position, both are 1, right? So it is 0, 1 and 1, 1. Both are 1, so it is 1. For the next position, 1 is 1 and this one is 0, right? We have a 1 and we have a 0, but bitwise OR is like if you have just one number of ones, other are zeros, still the output is 1, right, for that particular position. So if you are able to set a particular position as 1, then later on if you try to take the bitwise OR of this particular number with any other number x, then this particular bit and this particular bit or this particular position and this particular position already has a 1. So if at these positions x has a 1 or doesn't has a 1, it doesn't matter, right? this position, the least significant position and the second least significant position is already set as 1. So we don't really need to set it as 1 again. So for 1 and 3 array, we have sub arrays as 1, 3 and 1 comma 3, right? If you consider this particular sub array, it is having the bitwise or equal to 3. But the thing is, 3 is setting a bit which 1 is also setting. Means if I have 1, 0, 1, if I have 3 which is 1, 1, 3 is trying to set this particular bit, right? And 1 is also trying to set this particular bit. They are setting this particular bit to 1 and this particular bit is also set as 1, right? The output is 3. But the thing is, this particular 3 in this particular sub array, this particular 3 doesn't really need 1. What I mean by this is, if you have an array 1 comma 3 and the sub arrays are 1, 3 and 1 comma 3, the output of this is 3, but the output doesn't depend upon 1 as well. If you don't even have a 1, the output will still be 3 because 3 is setting that bit to 1 which 1 is also setting, right? So you don't need to consider this particular subarray 1 comma 3. This is a subarray which will produce the output as 3 as well, and this is a separate subarray, right, for which the bitwise will be 1. So from here we can understand that I don't need to set a particular bit to 1 again, or I don't need to consider that number again which has already set a particular bit as 1. This is all about bitwise OR. Now I know you might be confused, or if you have understood everything then that is great, but if you are confused, let me try to clear your confusion by solving this particular problem. Let us say the input is 1 comma 2 comma 3, but now as of now don't consider 2 and don't consider 3. Just worry about the first number which is 1. Now if the first number is 1, we just have one sub array which is actually equal to an array in which we have just one element which is 1. For this sub array, the bitwise OR will be equal to 1, right? So let's write it here. Now we see a new element which is 2. Now try to understand a very important fact here. The moment I see a new element, this new element is a different element as compared to this, right? If this would have been 1, if this would have been not 2 but 1, then this is the same element, right? If I directly add this in my answers, this will be 1 again. I don't need to do this, right? So I need to consider unique elements. That's the first thing. The moment I see a 1, the next time I see a 1, I don't need to consider 1 again. I just need to consider unique elements, and the reason is, if I see a 1, I will store it in my answer. The next time I see a 1 again, then the thing is, if I have 1 again, then if I store this 1 independently in my answer, then that is a duplicate. Or if I try to create a subarray of 1 comma 1, this particular subarray, for this particular subarray also, 1 bitwise or 1 will be equal to 1 again, right? So from here you need to understand that you just need to consider unique elements at every index of your loop. Don't consider the element which you have already seen. Now talking about this 1, we have stored it in our answer because that's the first element we have seen. Talking about the next element 2, let's try to process this. This is a unique element, right? If I try to consider a sub array of just 2, just this element, then this will be different, right? Because this sub array is just having 2, right? And the bitwise OR will be equal to 2. There is no contribution of 1 in this particular bitwise or in this particular sub array. So this is a unique element and we have to store it differently. We have to store it as an answer in our result list, that these are the bitwise ORs we can create. So let's store this particular 2 in our answer as well. Now the moment we store this 2 in our answer as well, there is one more question. Now we have seen a new element 2, right? Earlier we have just seen one element 1, so the sub array was 1 itself and we just has one sub array. But the moment I see a new element, then I have two sub arrays, because I will have a sub array in which I have just one element for which I have stored the answer, but I have another sub array using the previous elements. The previous elements are just 1 comma 2 is a sub array, right? Now the moment I see a 1 comma 2, let's try to compute the bitwise OR of 1 and 2, right? The bitwise OR of 1 and 2 is equal to 3. This is 0 1, then 2 is 1 0, this is 1 and 1 which is equal to 3. So I have a sub array for which the answer is 3, and let me try to store this answer as well, right? Now these are the two elements I have created, I have got as a new bitwise ORs when I have seen the new element 2, right? The thing is, here you will have to understand that this 2 got created independent of 1. There was no contribution of 1 in this particular 2, in this particular bitwise OR. But for this particular bitwise OR, which is actually equal to 3, there is a contribution made by 1. 1 has contributed independently to an answer and 1 has contributed to this particular bitwise OR as well. Now the logic which we can think right now is, the moment I see a new element, that new element is a separate element, right? This 3 is a separate element. This 3, if I try to create a subarray of 3, then 3 itself will be a subarray, right? And I will have to store an answer of 3, that okay, for this subarray, the bitwise OR is equal to 3. Let's try to store it. I know it is not unique, but let's try to store it. Now, if I talk about this 3, the previous elements are 1 and 2, right? What are the different subarrays which are possible, which has this 3? Then the subarrays are 2 comma 3 and 1 comma 2 comma 3. We have already considered the subarray 3, the independent subarray in which we have just one element 3 and stored the answer, right? Now, the moment we have stored the answer for the independent subarray of 3, Now we have two more subarrays possible, right? 3 with 2 and 3 with 2 and 1. Now you will have to understand a very important thing, that I have an answer, I have a bitwise which I have already created, which was contributed by 1 along with 2, right? So there is a contribution of 1 and 2 already in my answer, right? Now we don't need to create another subarray in which we have 1 and 2 together, because if we consider a subarray in which we have 1 and 2 together and then try to add another element, there is no use, because we have already stored an answer of 1 and 2, right? So what we can actually do is, we can say that instead of considering this 1 or instead of considering this 2, let us just consider the previous answers we have. I will tell you the thought process for this. Now let's try to process the 3 again, okay? The moment we see a 3, I will add this in my answer. But since it might get duplicate, what we can think is, let's not store it as a list, let's store it as something called as a set. In a set, we only store unique values, right? If I try to store another 3, it is not going to insert. So the moment we see a 3, we are going to store it in the answer. Since this 3 is already in the answer, we don't need to add it here, and we can say, okay, let's delete it. And that is because we are storing the answer in a set. The next thing is, the moment I see a 3, I will just consider the previous outputs I have got. And the reason is, this particular data has come independently from this 2, right? This particular data has come along with 1 and along with 2, right? This data is made up of 1 comma 2. So if I just take this 3 and if I add this 3 in this list as well, so this will be 1 bitwise or 2 bitwise or 3, right? We know the output of 1 and 2, right? It is actually equal to 3. So we don't need to process all the previous sub arrays, because this is going to be like a brute force. We are trying to process all the sub arrays. We already have an answer of 1 bitwise or 2 bitwise or 3. For this part, we have an answer is here, right? So we can utilize this answer. We still need to consider this 2 comma 3 sub array, and the reason is, this 2 was created separately. This 2 was created independently. So we don't know how the 2 comma 3 is going to contribute. Although 2 comma 3, this particular sub array is going to be equal to 3 itself, but we don't know, right? The input can be different. But for sure, we do not need a sub array in which we have 1 comma 2 comma 3, and the reason being, 1 comma 2 for this particular data, we already have an answer here, right? So instead of considering all the previous data, just consider all the unique answers we are creating. We just need to consider the unique answers, right? So what we will do is, let's try to process it again. If I see a 1, I don't have a previous answer, right? As of now, the answer is empty. So we are going to store this 1 here. Now the moment we see a new data, I can say, okay, what's my previous answer? First of all, I'm going to store it independently in the answer list, in the answer set. And then I will be taking the previous data I had, which is 1 only. So I can say 1 mod 2, it can produce a new data. Now I see a new element, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to store this new element directly in my answer. And then I can say, what about the previous data I had? I have 2 and 3. This way I can avoid this particular 1. And when the size of our data is going to increase, we are going to avoid a lot of values. So this particular algorithm will not be n square, and this will not be a brute force. We are going to say, okay, this is a 3. Let's store it in the answer. Now let's find out the previous values, which are 2 and 3. I will just say 2 comma 3 and 3 comma 3, because this 3 is actually equal to 1 comma 2. So we are actually finding the bitwise OR for all the subarrays, but we are not brute forcing our answer. We are not brute forcing our approach. So now let me get back to the code editor and let me show you how easily can you code this using Python. First of all, we are going to create a result variable, which is a set, and we are going to create a previous variable, which is also going to be a set, but this will only store the previous answers we have. As of now, it is empty. Now let's run a simple loop in our array, and then we are going to say, I will always store my current data in the current variable, which is actually equal to a set, because we are going to add this in our data. We are going to add this in our result. If it is a duplicate result, it will get ignored because we are having this as a set, right? Now let's run a loop in the previous data we have, and let's take the bitwise OR with all the previous data we have with the current number and add it in the current set. After this, what we can do is, we can say, let's update our result with the current set we created. This is the step. I mean, I can take this step and put it above. This is going to work. And then I can say my previous will be updated with the current, so that for the next number, the new previous can be used. And at the last, we can just return the length of our result set, and whatever is the length, that is going to be the unique bitwise ORs we have. I can submit this, and this is going to pass all the test cases, and this is a very efficient solution for this particular problem. You can see the runtime is really good, the memory used is really good, so we have solved this problem in a very efficient manner. So guys, I think that's it for this video. If this video helps you to understand the problem and the solution, and more importantly, if you understand the intuition behind this, then make sure that you are hitting that like button. And if you have not subscribed to my channel, then make sure that you subscribe to the channel as well. And let's aim for 50 subscribers for this video. And that's a big aim, but let's make it happen. And I will see you guys in the next video. I want to see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching this one.